thanks for watching again. Today I thought we'd go through how I'm going to be making my caramel milk soap. So I'm going to start with some soap dough, and I'll put the recipe for my soap dough at the end. It's basically just my normal soap with one little change. So I'm using this little extruder that I bought, and then this is how I'm actually going to be able to get my little string that I want in brown so that I can make a caramel sort of looking candy. So this one is just a little cheap one. I picked it up from a little cheapy store. I think I paid $21. And you can get them for all different prices, right up to over $100, but that's for the really expensive brand. I don't use mine enough to be able to pay that kind of money, but all you do is put your soap dough in the middle and then you twist the handle and get the size that you want. So for these, all I'm doing is, like you can see, it's just like a little shoelace, and then I'm just going to wind it round. It kind of feels like Play-Doh, to be honest. And then these are going to form my little candies that are going to be on the edge of my new soap. So I wanted just to do one side to be like a candy kind of caramel look, and then the other side to be the milk bottle with some sparkle on it, and just to be a bit of fun. And then I'm going to be scenting it in some delicious salted caramel. So they're all made now, and the next step I'm going to do, just to make them look like a caramel candy, is I'm actually just going to be brushing them with a really lovely little gold. I think this is called Gold Rush, but I'll double check for you. I'll put the link down the bottom, of course, and it's from a company called Sud Off, the little mica. And I'm literally just going to brush it over the top, and then that way it will look like a really yummy sort of caramel typed candy lolly, which will go on the top of my soap. Right, we're back again, and now what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be mixing all of our oils. So inside the container I have my hard oils along with my standard olive oil consistency. So everything's here together, and I'm just going to be blending it once I've popped in the lye, which I've just done. And you can see I'm just going to bring it to a nice creamy kind of consistency and not too thick at all, so that way I've got time to work with this. And so I'm just going to be splitting it off into different containers. I'm going to be using the really nice gold in one, and the other I'm going to use, it's another gold, but it's more of a browner gold, and it's called Coffee, but I always think it looks a little bit goldish, and they both have a tiny bit of shimmer to them. So I'm just popping the container on the ground that I don't need. I actually have a little bench under the table. And then I'm just going to be hand mixing it. You can stir it again later or give it a bit of a mix with the blender if you like, but for now I'll just stir it. And that's the reason why I don't actually get mine to be super thick at the start, because then you have time to reblend it if you want to, and you're not going to be too over thick. But if you make it thick at the start, then you just don't have room to do any of these kind of things. So that's my reasoning for that. And of course I'll pop in the beautiful salted caramel fragrance, which I've got from Aroma Candles. So I actually put a little bit less in this one because the salted caramel is quite strong. But if you want a super strong one, then, you know, do add a little bit more. But, you know, less is always better than more. So I'll let you watch me do this bit, and I'll come back in a moment. Now that wasn't long, was it at all? So I've cleaned up a bit, and now I'm just going to literally drop swirl my two colours in here, and I will also drop swirl the plain base, which is the cream colour. Now this fragrance does actually discolour, so the white bit I haven't really added any fragrance at all. I've just kept it plain, and we'll see how it goes. It will discolour a tiny bit because it does have the colour seeping through from the other ones as well. So now once I've done all this, I let it set up a little bit, and I decided, well, I'll use some of this Gold Rush that I'm using here, and just pipe a little layer on the top. I'm not going to be doing heaps and heaps. I'm literally only going to be doing just one flat layer of piping, and the main reason is just so that I can stick those caramel embeds down one side of it, and then the milk bottles as well. And yeah, so anyway, so like I said, I'm just going to be doing this one layer. It gives a little bit of texture and just adds a bit of difference on the top. I don't like mine to be super boring or plain. Most people that buy my soaps do buy it for the artesian soap, meaning the art that's been put into it and making it look different and quite lovely. So anyway, so as you can see, I'll go along piping, and then I'll come back to add in the little embeds. So we'll get all of our embeds ready now, and we're just going to be popping them all in. So these little milk bottles I pre-made, and they're all in cold processed soap. They're not in melt and pour. And also the ones that you see me do at the start, the little caramel rounds, they're done of course with soap dough, which is a similar process. We just let the all the soap and the mixture, we sort of let it harden up a bit, and then several days later we can mold it just like you would mold Play-Doh. So I'm just going to put the rounds down one side, and it will just look like kind of a gooey caramel toffee kind of candy lolly, I guess. And then on the other side I am going to be adding the milk bottles, so just trying to keep it nice and simple because this is a caramel milk inspired soap. And I think this turned out really cute. Sometimes I start doing one and I just have a vision, but I think I'll just let it go and I'll see what actually happens. But yeah, so we'll add the milk bottles in down the other side as well, and then once I'm finished I am going to top them off with some biodegradable multi glitter, which is just like a white sort of glitter with tiny little pastel specks of color, but you can barely see them. It just adds almost what I call a diamond sparkle into them. And yeah, and then it will look beautiful, and we'll set this aside to cure. This was just a testing one. If I like it and it sells well, then I will actually make several more of these. But today I'm working from home, as you can probably notice. I'm not in my factory because I like to soap at home more. The factory does get quite warm. But yeah, so for now, hopefully you've loved what I've done, and if you need any help with anything, please do let me know. I will also leave the link for the molds where I've actually bought them. These are actually just a cheap chocolate mold, but I can change, you can actually change it and use it in cold processed soap. The trick is to just put it in the freezer after it's cured for a few days, because then they pop out super easy. So I'm sure you can agree, look how lovely that is. Somebody is going to pick that up and think it's absolutely beautiful. And of course the scent of caramel will just waft through and make them love this soap. So thanks for listening. The next bit is I will add the cutting of the soap and a few pics for you to see how it's turned out. Well, don't you love these bars? I think they've turned out super duper beautiful. I cut them round about 1 inch thicker roughly, and these are going to be about 150 grams in weight. I try and keep these medium sized ones to about 150 grams in weight. Often there'll be a little bit extra on it than that, but I sell them at 150, and that way I'm adhering to Australian rules of putting, the weights on. In Australia we can have an average weight. It doesn't need to be a base exact weight, but it cannot be less than what you say. So yeah, so that's why I put my everything together. And then these will be, after they sit and cure for 6 weeks, they will actually be wrapped up and ready to go. So you'll see them on my site after that when they're ready. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Have an amazing, amazing day. And of course, be kind for everyone. Bye for now.